Hello, I'm Katrina from Unity of New Orleans. Welcome to our Sunday Satsang. Satsang means to be in the company of truth. Let us begin with our invocation. We are now in the presence of pure being and immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. We acknowledge thy presence and thy power, O blessed Spirit. In thy divine wisdom, now erase our mortal limitations, and from thy pure substance of love, bring into manifestation our world according to thy perfect law. And as we say the Lord's Prayer, I invite you to bring your awareness to your heart center and with reverence, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. With Thanksgiving coming in a few days, many of us are giving some attention to being thankful. Now, we here at Unity know that having an attitude of gratitude is super important, not just around this holiday, but always, because we know that the law of attraction means that whatever we focus our consciousness on attracts like experiences to us. Every one of us is a living magnet, drawing to ourselves the things, the people, and the circumstances in accord with our thoughts. So having gratitude increases your blessings so that you will have more reasons to be grateful. And this is an essential Unity teaching. Our predecessors, Charles Fillmore, Eric Butterworth, and others, have much to say on this subject. Gratitude is the heart's response to life's infinite blessings. As we live in awareness and appreciation, we experience and express the richness of life. So gratitude increases the richness of life and the prosperity that flows into our lives. And today, we're going to begin with defining prosperity and understanding what it means to have prosperity consciousness. The Metaphysical Bible Dictionary defines prosperity as the consciousness that divine mind is our inexhaustible supply and support. The difference between spiritual prosperity and material prosperity is that spiritual prosperity is founded on the understanding of the inexhaustible, omnipresent substance of spirit as the source of our supply. And on the other hand, the material idea is that the possession of things constitutes prosperity. We lay hold of the one substance with our mind through our understanding and faith. Substance is an idea that comes from divine mind, and it is the spiritual essence of which all things are made. So, we open the channel for spiritual substance to flow into our life through our consciousness. From divine mind comes divine ideas that we bring forth into divine expression. And this is how we understand the Trinity concept in Unity. The Father being divine mind, the Son is the divine idea, and the Holy Spirit is that divine expression. Anxiety about supply can be overcome by a recognition of the omnipresence of spiritual substance and a centering of faith in it as the one source of our supply. This substance is magnified and increased by thanksgiving and praise. One's conversation should always magnify the spirit of plenty. It is necessary to give as freely as we receive, because there is also a law of giving and receiving. Giving opens the way to a greater inflow of substance, and we should give cheerfully and freely out of the consciousness that our supply is inexhaustible. Prosperity, then, is a state of consciousness. And the word prosperity comes from the Latin root, which translates to according to hope, or to go forward hopefully. And thus, prosperity is an attitude about life. Affluence literally means an abundant flow. Abundance is the infinite life, intelligence, and potential of the divine, which is not distant but everywhere present, and we live and move and have our being in this divine abundance. Prosperity is how much of that abundance you are allowing to flow into your life. Abundance is all that is good and valuable and meaningful and beautiful, flowing into expression in all areas of our lives. This is an abundant universe. This universe is abundant because it flows from an abundant source. Now, we may think that our job is our source or the economy is our source, but these are only channels for the source, and they're really all subject to change. The fluctuations of life can easily throw us into fear, leading us to believe that we're not supported by the universe. And this is where our consciousness can keep us in alignment with our source, because our source is the divine mind, God, the Great Spirit. So the art of prosperity consciousness is about staying in the flow of the infinite abundance from our spiritual source. Consciousness is the sum total of everything that you have ever believed, and your consciousness holds the imprint of all of your beliefs. It is the container of all that you have assumed to be real. Your individual consciousness is floating in the ocean of the collective consciousness. And the collective consciousness is imbued with so much fear and not enoughness. And for many people, actually dwelling in prosperity consciousness is an art, because most people absorb that collective fear and worry and live in the mentality of lack and scarcity. However, prosperity consciousness is essential if we are to prosper in life, and it is your consciousness that ultimately sets the course of your life. Every area of your life is impacted by your consciousness. As it is in consciousness, so it is in your experience. Sri Aurobindo, an Indian mystic teacher and yogi, said, "Consciousness is the most fundamental thing in existence. It is the energy, the motion, the movement of consciousness that creates the universe and all that is in it, not only the macrocosm, but the microcosm. It's nothing but consciousness arranging itself." And certainly we can see today that the world of quantum physics, as well as the various mystical paths around the world, reveal this truth to us. So this is an opportunity to ask yourself how much you have bought into the idea that resources are limited, or that there's not enough for you, or that money doesn't grow on trees, or whatever you heard from your parents. There is more than enough to go around. And the wisdom teachings tell us that there is an inexhaustible supply. It all begins in your consciousness, with your thoughts and your beliefs. So today, let us leave the scarcity mentality behind and tap into the infinite supply of our source. When you know that this source never runs dry, you can transcend the fluctuations of life. We have to develop a consciousness of prosperity and abundance then. A state of consciousness is created by being present moment by moment and always returning to this present moment. So just be present with the thoughts and the feelings, the patterns and the emotions that arise within you without judgment. And then keep directing your consciousness back to thoughts and feelings of abundance. And this is how we build our consciousness. Wayne Dyer said, abundance is not something that we acquire. It is something that we tune into. So let us tune into abundance today. At Unity, we teach that everything that you think, speak, and affirm comes to pass. So we're going to concentrate on things that we want to see grow and thrive. And we're going to keep our thoughts centered on ideas of abundance and well-being. This is what Charles Fillmore, Unity co-founder, taught about prosperity. Divine mind is the one and only reality. When we incorporate the ideas that form this divine mind into our mind and persevere in these ideas, a mighty strength wells up within us. And then we have a foundation for the spiritual body, the body that is not made with hands, but which is eternal in the heavens. When the spiritual body is established in consciousness, its strength and power is transmitted to the visible body and to all the things that we touch in the world about us. The spiritual substance from which comes all visible wealth is never depleted. It is right with you all the time and responds to your faith in it and your demands on it. It is not affected by your ignorant talk of hard times, though we are affected by our thoughts and words. The unfailing resource is always ready to give. It has no choice in the matter. It must give, for that is its nature. Pour your living words of faith into the omnipresent substance, and you will be prospered. Turn the great energy of your thinking toward ideas of plenty, and you will have plenty, regardless of what others are saying or doing. God, the source, is substance, not matter. Matter is formed from substance, while the source, or God, is formless. Divine substance lies underneath all matter and form. It is the basis of all form, yet does not enter into any form as a finality. Substance cannot be seen, touched, tasted, or smelled, yet it is more substantial than matter, for it is the only substantiality in the universe. In Matthew 6:19 through 21, we read, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust consume, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust consumes, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." There is no scarcity of the air that you breathe. There is actually plenty of air, all the air that you will ever need. But if you close your lungs and refuse to breathe, you may suffocate from lack of air. When you recognize the presence of the abundance of air and open your lungs to breathe it deeply, you'll get a larger inspiration. So let's do that right now. Let's take a deep breath in. Just allow yourself to receive this affirmation. I establish myself in the limitless flow of substance from the source, and I am abundant in all ways. This is exactly what you should do with your mind in regard to substance. There is an all-sufficiency of all things, just as there is an all-sufficiency of air. The only lack is our own lack of appropriation. When the great mystic and spiritual teacher Jesus had 5,000 people to feed with only 5 loaves and 2 fishes, he looked up to the heavens and he gave thanks. He was turning away from the appearance of lack and turning towards the infinite supply. Now, metaphysically, the loaves represent divine substance, and the fishes represent divine ideas. So this was truly not a miracle, but rather a demonstration of the outworking of divine law. Jesus was demonstrating to us that from divine mind comes divine ideas that we bring into substance and expression in our life. And Jesus demonstrated prosperity consciousness when he said, I came that you may have life and have it abundantly. Truly, we are not meant to suffer in lack and scarcity, but to have a life that is rich and fulfilling, healthy, prosperous, and loving. I'd like to read now from Eric Butterworth's book, Spiritual Economics. Infinite mind will put ideas into your mind, words into your mouth, creativity into your hands, boundless opportunities before you, and guiding light on your way. You are a creative expression of the universe, with the responsibility to let your light shine. Any person who is experiencing lack in some way is actually living in opposition of the universal flow. Your prosperity will always be a reflection of your consciousness and the degree that your thoughts are centered in the divine flow. The glorious truth is that you are a very special person, and you always have something special working within you, flowing through you. In fact, the whole universe is on your side. Life is forever biased on the side of healing, on the side of overcoming, and on the side of success. And when you get yourself centered in the universal flow, you become synchronized with the divine bias for good. Amazing things can and will unfold for you. And while some may call this a miracle, you will accept it as the perfectly natural function of the divine process. Practice the presence of the God divine substance with diligence and persistence, and you will begin to realize prosperity. Our affirmation again. Take a deep breath in. I establish myself in the limitless flow of substance from the source, and I am abundant in all ways. So I want to tell you a story, and this is one of my favorite stories about unity. It's about Charles Fillmore, who was truly an idealist and a visionary, and his faith was almost childlike. He truly believed that he could manifest whatever he needed into his life by accepting the idea that God was there for him, that the universe was abundant, and that everything that God intended for him to have, he would have. So this story begins when the Fillmore family became vegetarian in 1895. And at that time, vegetarianism was pretty rare, but Charles believed that a person's diet was an important spiritual practice. And he said that cellular regeneration is aided by consuming food of the highest and purest character. In October of 1903, Charles Fillmore wrote, "Our food should be full of life in its purity and vigor. There should be no idea of death and decay connected with it in any degree. The vegetable should be fresh and the fruit radiant in its sunny perfection." Now, Charles felt that meat had vibrations that he did not want to take into his body. And because of his teachings on vegetarianism, Unity folks were often referred to as those vegetarians. So anyway, the Fillmores discovered that there were no vegetarian restaurants in Kansas City, and naturally they decided to open their own cafe, which they ended up calling Unity Inn. And they soon realized that there was a supply problem, as there were not enough fruits and vegetables for the cafe. So they decided to start a farm. And one day Charles went for a drive outside of town and he found a piece of land. And this land was uncultivated and it was full of rocks and trees. And his agent said that it was worthless. So he bought the land for practically nothing. And Charles called it Unity Farm immediately. And naturally, the first thing that is needed to start a farm is a water supply. So they drilled for water. And they struck oil. And then they drilled for water again. And they struck oil again. And they did end up pumping and producing oil, but just enough for their own needs because they never really wanted to get into the production of oil, even though there was plenty. They decided that the oil was too much of a side project and it was not their primary focus. So they kept drilling for water. And next they found natural gas. And when they finally found water, it was an artesian well. Charles Fillmore and Myrtle Fillmore had prosperity consciousness, and they just accepted that this was what God wanted, that they should prosper. And when they started building on the land, they developed and discovered a natural quarry. And most of the buildings were made from this beautiful natural stone that came from their land. And then there were also black walnut trees on the land, and all of the furniture was made of this wood. And this is the history of how Unity Village began. Everything that the Fillmores needed and more was there for them because they believed that that's how it should be. And Charles emphasized the prosperity principle openly. He often said, "It's a sin to be poor. And if you are, then you are stopping the natural flow of prosperity." So he created affluence in his life through consciousness, and this was very important to him because he had grown up in poverty. He placed tremendous influence on the power of spoken word, and he said that words are the most powerful agents of the mind. Every time we speak, we cause the atoms of the body to tremble and change their places. Not only do we cause the atoms of our own body to change their positions, but we raise or lower the rate of vibration and otherwise affect the bodies of others with whom we come in contact with. This quote really emphasizes how much of an impact our words have on us, on our lives, and on those to whom we are speaking. And it really also includes the impact that words have on our bodies, with every atom vibrating at the same frequency as the words that we speak. Charles said, "God is the source of a mighty stream of substance, and you are the tributary of that stream, a channel of expression. Blessing the substance increases its flow. If your money supply is low or your purse seems empty, take it into your hands and bless it. See it filled with living substance ready to become manifest. As you prepare your meals, bless the food with the thought of spiritual substance. When you dress, bless your garments and realize that you are being constantly clothed with divine substance. The more conscious you become of the presence of the living substance, the more it will manifest itself for you, and the richer will be the common good of all. Identify yourself with the infinite flow of divine substance, and you will soon begin to rejoice in the ever-present bounty of God. Do not take anyone's word for it, but try the law for yourself. Another's realization of substance will not guarantee your supply. You must become conscious of it for yourself. Identify yourself with substance until you make it yours. It will change your finances, destroy your fears, stop your worries, and you will soon begin to rejoice in the ever-present bounty of the source. Be still and turn within to the great source, and see with the eye of faith that the whole world is filled with substance. Henry David Thoreau said, "If one advances confidently in the direction of her dreams and endeavors to live the life which she has imagined, she will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. She will put some things behind, will pass an invisible boundary. New, universal, and more liberal laws will begin to establish themselves around and within her, or the old laws will be expanded and interpreted in her favor in a more liberal sense, and she will live with the license of a higher order of beings." So we're going to wrap up today by returning to gratitude, because our abundance is magnified and increased by thanksgiving and praise. So we talked about prosperity consciousness, and having the attitude of gratitude is such an important state of consciousness because it keeps you in the awareness of the oneness of divine flow. What you express gratitude for expands, multiplies, and magnetizes itself to you. Plato said, "A grateful mind is a great mind, which eventually attracts to itself great things." A grateful heart will always attract to itself everything that is needed and more. So practice having an attitude of gratitude, not just this month, but always, because your thanksgiving is not only the impetus for what manifests into your life. It's not just a response to what is happening for you, but it is a celebration of the truth, which is the assurance of a continuous flow of blessings, prosperity, and abundance. Let us take these powerful words, these concepts, and this gratitude into meditation. I invite you to close your eyes. Allow your awareness to turn inward. Feel your body relaxing into your chair. And as you take a deep breath in, breathing in life force energy. And as you exhale slowly, allow yourself to relax fully into this present moment and to feel the presence all around you. Release all of your cares and concerns as you relax your mind, relax your emotions, relax your body. and open your mind and your heart. I enter into the recognition of the all-abiding, infinite life and love that is the Supreme Spirit, intelligence, and abundance of life. The infinite and inexhaustible life. This life is all that it ever needs to be, limitless, ever unfolding its infinite wisdom and possibility throughout all the universe. It is pure love, light, peace, and truth, joy, wisdom, wholeness, and the abundance of all things. This life, my life, is unfolding itself perfectly. And I rejoice in this moment to know that this is the life that I am creating. My life and the life of Source are one, a seamless unity. I step out of old limiting ideas into the true spirit and light of my being. I commune with that which the Source is being as me and through me, and declare with clarity that I am life, I am love, I am peace, power, joy, wholeness, and an ever unfolding and flowing abundance of creativity and good. All ideas of limitation and scarcity are dissolving in this very instant. As I realize that I am the outlet for the omnipresent abundance of divine substance, I affirm that abundance is the very way of life. In this realization, I am prosperous. Limitless substance is my source. And I rejoice knowing that there can never be any scarcity in spirit or truth. Therefore, my life is grounded in the endless, continuous flow of divine good. I know and affirm that the ideas of divine mind now pour forth into my consciousness, into my heart for acceptance, and into my world for manifestation. I open to creative insights that pave the way for the divine good to express itself in and through me. I am an outlet for the distribution of the infinite good of Source. And I give thanks and rejoice. And I know that this is who I am. As this consciousness is anchored within me now, I know that flowing forth through me is the abundance of pure being, and flowing back to me is the abundance of life. Mirrored back to me from this consciousness is greater financial good, increased and wondrous opportunities, every area of my life prospering and flourishing, be it in body, relationships, career, in every area of my life. My creative expression abounds as this consciousness is who I am. It moves forth to take form in my life. And I give great thanks for the good that is mine in every way, moving forward in the perfection of the law, to evolve and to manifest in all the right, perfect ways and times. And I am so grateful for the truth, made known and realized and expressed in and through me abundantly this day. And I release this knowing in great joy to that power greater than I, that does these works in peace and acceptance, knowing that it is done unto me as I believe. And I believe. Thank you, Spirit, for this is now so. And so I let it be. And so it is. And we will close our Sangha today with a prayer for protection written by James Dillett Freeman. The light of God surrounds me. And now say, I am the light. The love of God enfolds me. I am the love. The power of God protects me. I am the power. The presence of God watches over me. I am the presence. Wherever I am, God is, and I am safe and secure, and all is well. The Lord watches between me and thee, while we are absent, one from the other, and helps us to know that we are all one in spirit. And so it is. Blessed be. Namaste. Amen.